What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the BTR Garage. My name is Justin. In this video, we're going to be dropping the oil pan on my GR86 for the second time. We're going to check to see if there's any more RTV bits stuck in that oil pickup. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, if you guys remember back when we dropped the oil pan the first time on my GR86, we did find a good bit of silicone stuck in the oil pickup. At that time, I had about 3,800 miles on the car. I had a couple track days, several autocross events, and some canyon runs. So pretty good use on the car. And just like everybody else that had pulled their oil pans and checked their oil pickups, we had RTV in the pickup. Obviously, I have not had an issue up to this point. I'm not expecting to have any issues with the car. But as a follow-up to that first video, I wanted to pull the oil pan again after another oil change and see if anything else accumulated in that oil pickup. So now, 3,400 miles later, we've got 3 more track days on the car, actual time trial events with the NASA Car Club. We have several more autocrosses on the car, I think 3, maybe 4 autocross events, plus another 2 or 3 canyon runs in the mountains. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on taking the car apart. I'm not gonna show most of the technical stuff of taking the car apart, like removing the underbody panels, the header, the front pipe, that kind of stuff. I'm gonna break right to the oil pan because I'm gonna share this new tool that I actually discovered from the last time I did this. Removing the oil pan is the hardest part of this job, and using a screwdriver and pry bars like I did in my first video, you can deform the oil pan a little bit. It's easy to bend back and you can get a good seal. But this tool is actually made for breaking the seal on an oil pan. And taking a closer look at the tool here, you can see it's got this little arm that I'm holding and the blade on the top part, which is what we wedge in between the oil pan and the bottom of the engine. And then the little block on here you can actually use to hammer the back and the sides of it to get it wedged in there, and then hammering on these ends you can actually slide it down the length of the oil pan and then eventually use the leverage from the handle to kind of pry it away. But we'll show you how it's done when we jump underneath the car. But a very cool tool. You can find the link for this in the description. Makes this job and really any oil pan removal job on any other car super easy. Like always, when we get the oil drained on the car, we're going to take a sample for Blackstone oil analysis and get splatter on the camera in the process. We'll get that cleaned off and the rest of our liquid-like oil drained out of this car with that super light oil, and get right to the oil pan itself, removing all of the bolts that hold the pan in place. I use the power tool after loosening these all by hand. You don't want to go straight to the power tool when taking off the bolts. We're going to grab our specialty tool here. We're going to go ahead and slide it in between the oil pan and the engine block, and really just kind of got to sit here and hammer away at it for a little bit, trying different angles and different ends of the block. We're going to go ahead and pull it out, move it to a little bit different position, and start working away at that part of the seal until we get it to finally kind of go all the way in. And at that point you can start hammering the sides of the block and start cutting away at the seal up and down the length of the oil pan, kind of like I showed you earlier in the visual demonstration. But this is what's cool about the tool. Once you get it in there and get it going, it kind of just rips its way right around the oil pan, gets that seal broken apart, and becomes a little bit easier once you get the initial break through the seal. We're going to switch it over to the other angle, and we're getting the other side of the oil pan now. You only have to get, I don't know, about half of the oil pan, maybe, if that, opened up, and then at that point you can start prying away like I'm doing right now. I just pulled on the lever on the tool and was able to break the rest of the seal open, and from that point you can just kind of grab the oil pan and peel it away. So what's in the oil pickup? Well, not much, as you can see, which is really good news. You can see in the upper right hand corner there, and I'll highlight in the next image the little tiny bits of RTV that I did find. There was a little bit in the upper left as well, but really not much. When I took them out, which actually took quite a while, digging around with the pick to get those things out of there, this is what I ended up with. So a handful of little specks of RTV, and that was all that I found in my oil pickup at this second oil change. And after getting those little bits out of there, we have a nice, freshly cleaned oil pickup. The bottom of the oil pan also looked fine with no excessive metals or anything in there. We did find that little strip on the right, which I think just came off of the oil pan when I peeled it away from the engine. So there we go. Very little RTV found in my oil pickup. That is awesome news. Definitely relieved that we don't have any large chunks captured in that oil pickup anymore. So who knows, down the road I may do another inspection, I don't know, after another 10,000 miles or so, but for now we're going to continue racing the car, continue enjoying the car, and have that little bit of extra peace of mind that at least for now we don't have any RTV stuck in the oil pickup. So thanks again everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful. If you liked the video, remember to give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, you can give it a thumbs down. And please consider subscribing to the channel, clicking those notifications and subscribe button down below. I would love to see you for future videos. Stick around for more good stuff coming up very soon. Stay safe out there. I'm checking out. Talk to you all next time.